Bitcoin has been one of the best performing assets of our lifetime, and particularly in the last few months, it's particularly shone, and you can see the price has dramatically increased. Even daily today, it's gone up 7%. So if I just go in a bit deeper here, I can show you the last few weeks, months in the year, where it's completely exploded come November from £10,000 all the way up to £25,000. So this creates a dilemma for investors because they can see a performant asset, something that's gaining a lot of value and traction, not only in the real world for real world application, but also people are seeing this as an investment, a store of value. So people are wanting to buy it. However, you can also see the volatility. They experienced December 2017 where they saw a peak at 15,000 for only months later for it to collapse down to £3,000. So this volatility means it's got a lot of risk, however it does have a lot of reward. So there needs to be a solution for this to make Bitcoin profitable for investors like myself and probably you if you're watching the video. So this is where cost averaging comes into play. So for those of you who don't know, cost averaging involves investing incrementally over time, whether it be monthly, weekly, daily, every 2 weeks, whatever works for you. You consistently buy the asset over that set period of time. So say if you had £1,000 to invest and you saw Bitcoin was at £15,000, you could understand the risk, but you could also appreciate, hey, it's always going to have a peak and it could also go higher. So would you want to invest £1,000 straight into that £15,000? Well, maybe, but I wouldn't. I would think it's a really high value right now, and no one knows what the future holds. If you were looking at the short term, you would have lost nearly all your money. And this is where the fear of investing comes in. You see you lost all your money and you want to sell before it hits zero. So this is a similar dilemma at the moment where it's at a new peak, £25,000, but people still want to invest. People, like I had made videos before saying about price targets, Citibank saying it could hit like $300,000, $400,000. And it's just crazy how much money there could potentially still to be made. But people don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. So cost averaging, if you had £1,000 to invest, instead of putting it all in one go, you can put £100 in every month for the next 10 months, so you get an average price. So that means if you put £100 in at the peak and it goes down, fine, it doesn't matter, we'll buy even cheaper. And then if it goes up, which if you're investing for the long term and you think something's got value, it should go up in value. That means you're buying it for a lower price for the long term, and then when it does shoot up, you make more money. So I'm going to get into some real world examples of Bitcoin and real numbers through this website here, and then later on I'm going to show you my actual portfolio and how it's actually played out for me in my investment strategy. So this website here is called DCABTC, which stands for Dollar Cost Averaging Bitcoin. It's a really good website. It allows you to see how much you invest in Bitcoin over a set period of time, and you can also use it to compare other assets such as the Dow Jones Industrial, which is 30 US companies with a large market cap, and how they performed over the same period, as well. And it also compares it to gold, which Bitcoin is often compared to in the comparison. So this example here that I've got up already shows if you invested $40 or £40, currencies are all relative, they're still a percentage, so it will still be the same value relative to your own currency. So in this case, $40 every 2 weeks for 3 years, starting in 2018, would accumulate you $11,000 from a £3,000 investment. Again, if you've done this in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it would have made 16.8% return, or just over £500. I mean, gold would have made you a bit higher, 31%, but Bitcoin, 255%. And again, you can change this. So if we'd done it for 5 years, starting 5 years ago, how much would we have made? So a $5,000 investment would have made you £76,000. It would have made you 1,366% compared to 40% or 32%. So you can see there's a lot of money to be made here. And this, you can see the value here drop. And this is through the Bitcoin massive crash where it peaked at in 2017, I think it was £15,500 and dropped all the way down to £3,000 here. But your investment, where you've got the average price, you've built up a large amount of capital for the long term. So when it does have a massive bull rally, a final push to go to the two Citibanks, 300,000 or 200,000, even if they're half wrong or 70% wrong, if Bitcoin hits £100,000, if you've bought consistently all the way through here, you've built up a large amount of Bitcoin with little risk because you've got an average price that haven't suffered from short-term fluctuations in the volatile Bitcoin market. And this large capital can shoot off and it would be worth a significant amount in the future. Again, this is this is obviously 5 years, and the past doesn't predict the future, but it shows you how risk averse cost averaging can be. So again, if we want to do it 4 years ago, so then we can look, so we don't really get the cheapest value where Bitcoin was like pennies 3 years ago. The long-term effect is, as long as the asset is moving upwards in the long term, and you're buying at cheaper prices consistently, in the long term, it will make value. So there's some real world figures of what Bitcoin would be worth if you invested $40 in every 2 months. If you put 100 in every 2 weeks, which isn't a crazy amount, I think that's quite an average value. Your $8,000 investment or $7,100 over a 3-year period would be worth $28,000, and this is real world numbers. This is what Bitcoin has actually produced, and you don't have to go through the turmoil of investing at the peak and losing all your money and it never recovering, or worrying about that, because you're constantly buying at lower prices. So again, I said I was going to go on to my actual portfolio, how Bitcoin has performed for me. So if I go back to Bitcoin here, click on my portfolio, you can see over the last year how I've been putting money in steadily. You can see little deposits at the beginning, how it starts to fade out along here because of the increased volume that Bitcoin has been shooting up through. So I've invested, unfortunately, Coinbase doesn't actually show the amount invested, but I've got that on a separate spreadsheet, which I'll show you in a minute. So I've invested about £700, and it's just over doubled, I think it's about 110% increase. And I've just put money in steadily over the last few months, since June, so 6 months. And then that means I had a lot of capital backing me for when it inevitably took off and had a bull run. And I'm hoping this continues. This is my allocation for anyone who was wondering. I kind of just threw in some altcoins just for the sake of it. Stellar Lumens has been tremendous today. I think it's earned 80% in one day. Ripple's gone down. It did like quadruple in value, I think. Again, through cost averaging, it quadrupled in value. Then the CEO got some like scam or was money laundering, so the price shot down. And you can see actually up here, it's actually going to cease trading on Coinbase, which is a bit of a shame, because hopefully it is allegations, and I haven't actually looked into it, but hopefully it's not a scam coin. But Bitcoin is pretty sure it's here to stay. Same with Ethereum. So from now on, we've invested my money into Bitcoin and Ethereum on a 2-weekly basis. Like I said, I was doing it on a monthly, but I want to up that to try and maximize the volatility and buy more consistently at cheaper prices. So as for my actual numbers, you can see here my Excel spreadsheet. So this is my dashboard. I made a video on how to make a similar one if you want to track your investments like I do. And here is the principal amount I've invested. So you can see from June to July, I invested £75 and £50 and £60, then £100, then £80, then £80, and then £100 I invested today actually. So we'll ignore the value, so minus £100. So I've made, from £640 investment, I made £860 profit. So that's, like I said, that's about 120% return on your money. Which is quite incredible. Let's just work that out here. So we do change over the original value, which is 640, and put it into percent. So there you go. So my Bitcoin cryptocurrencies in 6 months have returned me 134%. So I hope that shows you the power of cost averaging, how it mitigates risk. You can still get a great amount of reward from it, and it is something that, if you see value in the long term, it's well worth doing. This can be replicated with index fund, mutual funds, even normal stocks and shares, individual companies. So that kind of wraps up the video. Before you go, if you haven't already, check the links in the description. You can get a lot of free stuff. If you haven't signed up to Coinbase, you can get free Bitcoin. Same with Trading 212 and Freetrade. You get a free share. Collectively, it's worth up to £300. So it's well worth doing if you haven't already. And let me know what your strategy is with the cryptocurrency investment scene. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.